my magical friends. How you be today? It is TLC, Tuesday Live Chat. And we are going to talk about one of my, I think I say this every time, one of my favorite topics, right? One of my favorite topics, entities in your animals. And just how can they impact them? So, I'm Dr. Andy. I play with dogs. That's pretty much my personal job description. I'm actually a certified animal chiropractor here in Colorado. I actually live in the foothills west of Denver. And I also play with the tools and processes of Access Consciousness. And I have had the joy and the pleasure of playing with dogs for going on 18 years now. And I play with puppy bodies, and so many things come up in conversations with my clients. And I generally like to bring them up here so we can have these conversations out in the world. So we look at things different here. Different perspective, different questions, different points of view, and see what we can change with all that, because everything is energy. And so today, entities. So what's an entity, right? An entity is really anything without a body. It's a life form without a body. So we commonly call them ghosts, right? And so how do they impact our animals? Well, animals have more capacities with entities. They have less filters when it comes to entities. So they generally see more of them and they interact with them more. They don't have any points of view that they're interacting with something without a body. We tend to have these points of view that ghosts and entities are all scary, they're all bad, they're all out to get you, which actually is not true. Actually, a lot of them can and do contribute to you and your animals. But a couple conversations I had this week, so I thought this would be fun to bring up. One, I got a text from a longtime client. She's like, has Portia said anything to you? Well, sometimes if I have a long-standing relationship with animals, they do pop into my awareness. And they, hello Keisha, thank you for coming. They do pop into my awareness and do share information with me, not generally like with mom or dad's or my permission. But it's fun to get those texts. I'm like, oh, okay. And I will check my awareness. I'll check my zone. I'll check. I'm like, no, no. And I actually sat with the text for a couple hours. I had other appointments and just kind of checking in and bumping into Portia's energetic field and nothing. And I'm like, I finally text Mom back. I'm like, no, why? What's up? And she's like, oh, she's just been really clingy. I was wondering if something was bothering her. She just wanted to sit by me. And I'm like, I do a quick scan of her energetic field and of her physical body, and I'm like, no, nothing. And then Mom goes into, hello, Miss Sarah. While I was on my walk today, this other dog who has passed away came and visited and went for a walk with her. And that's when the energy matched. It was like, woof, that was it. Kitty wasn't so keen on this entity being around Mom. So Kitty got up close next to Mom and was clingy. No. Wait. She's like, mm-mm. Kitty just doesn't care for dogs. They had nothing to do with it was an entity or that was bad or wrong. No dogs. No. And so I had a little chat with that entity and used some of the tools of Access, used their clearing statement and kind of moved him along. And Mom says Kitty has settled down. So those new behaviors, that's something that shifts without any really physical signs and symptoms of something being wrong or a problem, because that's, generally the filters we look at our animals in. So that was fun. And then she thought it was way cool that she got to go on a walk with one of her favorite dogs. He may not have had a body, but he was there supporting her. And she had actually recently had surgery. And so he was there also supporting her. So they do come and contribute. They don't always just come to be scary and bad and awful like we always see in the movies, or all of our what we remember from childhood of being scared of the boogeyman under the bed, or whatever your points of view are about ghosts and entities and beings without bodies. Keisha's like, LOL, Kitty has her preferences. Well, most kitties actually have that preference, generally speaking. But it wasn't, the energy was not that it didn't have a body. That wasn't it. It was, that dog, not here, not now. This is my mama. So that was kind of fun. And then once Mom interacted with that entity and I did my little thing and all of that, and Kitty just settled back down. It was fine. But cats have amazing capacities with entities. I do general clearings of my cats on a pretty regular basis. If they are being very, very cranky, especially with each other, I'll clear them. And you can find the access clearing in the Talk to the Animals book. You can find that on Amazon. Keisha might even throw a link in here. It's in there. You can use it. You don't even have to know what you're doing, but you can use it, see what changes. But with kitties, I generally do that clearing on a regular basis with my own, because they are constantly working with entities. And because I have a home office, I have people in and out, animals in and out all the time. And so that is essentially their job. They may be looking like they're sleeping on the bed all day, but they're actually managing a lot of the entities that do come into my house that I'm not necessarily even aware of. They manage it, they handle it. And the clearing is on almost all of our emails, yes. So, yes, and you can use that there. Okay, and then another conversation I just had yesterday, a little 1-year-old Jack Russell. She's darling, she's very sweet. And Mom was describing some new behavior. She's like, well, now that she's 1 year old, she now, I don't know, I don't think I'm going to remember them properly, but I'll give you an idea. When she wakes up, she doesn't want to, like, she doesn't upstairs, like it was like certain spots, which is also kind of your tip off that you might be dealing with entities, is certain spots in the house or certain places on a walk or whatever. Just FYI. Miss Keisha will add a link to the book later. It'll be there. So you'll have to come back and check, or if Facebook is good, it'll send you a link that somebody posted in the comment section of this live. Okay. But yes, if you have behavior changes in certain parts of the house, certain parts of the walk, certain places you go, just be aware that you might have an entity that your animal is more aware of than you. And I guess upstairs, she won't run to Mom. She just runs really fast by Mom and like down the stairs and out of there. Like, she wakes up and leaves. And then she was doing some other things I don't remember. But I'm like, have you cleared the house lately? And I loved Mom's response. And this is what I really wanted to talk about was, well, we haven't really gone anywhere. I'm like, well, true that. She's like, and I've had some workers in, but they were very nice guys. You don't have to be a bad person to bring an entity into somebody's home. You don't have to be a bad person to have an entity maybe attached to you or attached to your animal. You don't have a bad animal if that entity attaches to your animal. They just have an energy that they're resonating with. And you don't know what else these people are doing out in their lives. Some entities really like the energy of if that person happens to drink a lot and that will attract entities. If that person really likes to smoke dope, that will attract entities. There are certain entities that love that energy. So it's not a good or a bad or an evil. So it was very cute, but they're very nice guys. I go, okay, I'm not, looking at that. She goes, yeah, I probably should sage the house. Like, well, why don't you sage the house and see what shifts and changes for her? Maybe spend some extra time in those areas. I don't generally like sage I generally recommend that because most people are aware of those properties with sage. I don't really like it. I actually don't really like the smell of it. I go back to the clearing statement with access. That it's so quick, it's so fast and so effective. And they go into it a little bit more in depth in the book with entities. So there might be a little extra step to it, but it's so fast. And it'll clear that out. So these new behaviors, right? Like she was like, oh, she turned 1 and now she's being goofy upstairs. Well, is that really true? Or is it something else? What's later? Oh, there's something else. So what could this be? What else is possible here? Oh, do we have an entity? Oh, that seemed pretty light, right? Like, oh, yeah, possibly. Cool. Would that, would that entity like to communicate with me? With you? Do they like to be cleared, or would they like to contribute to us? You can also ask those questions of them and see what is the lightest. And then some people are like, okay, it wants to communicate with me. What do I do with that? Have some fun with that. You don't have to tell anybody you're doing it, but you can have some fun with that. Okay, cool. You want to talk to me or somebody else? Somebody else. Okay, well then I can't help you with that. Like, I don't know, and there's actually a lot of steps to this. Shannon O'Hara has lined it out beautifully. You can head over to her website, talktotheentities.com. If this is something that's really like piqued your interest and go, oh, I want to look at this more. Most people that are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're talking about this. I don't want to look at this. I don't want to know anything about this. They are the ones that have the greatest capacity with entities. And what if they could be a contribution to you and your animals? Entities also come up a lot when an animal in the pack, in the household, passes away. Okay, let's say we have 3 dogs and one passes away. And I always recommend to folks that after that, he's just like, it'd be quite comical at times, that communication with entities things. Oh my goodness, yes, because they will ask for some of the strangest things that you have no way of delivering. And so you just have to have fun with it. And remember, and I talk about this a lot with your animals, remember, you are the dominant being. Okay? You can kick them out of places. You can ask them to come back later. You are the dominant being. You are the dominant being with your animals. You are the dominant being with entities. Be in your knowing. Okay. But if that one animal passes away and they happen to have been taking a lot of drugs or use drugs to help them leave the body, they don't always know they have left their body. You have to tell them. So they are going to continue interacting with the pack like they always do, but without a body. So they may be a little confused. Your other animals are acting a little odd, maybe. And usually the most common description is they refuse to lay in that bed. That was the dogs. And owners just think it's so sweet that they won't use that bed. Probably because that being is still in that bed. Or they were using the bed and owners are like, oh, that's so sweet. They want to be close to them. Oh, and then like 10 days later, they stop using the bed. That's because that being's probably using that bed and kicked them out. I had one lady, the dog that had passed away, that being was still in the house and was up at 3 a.m. causing a ruckus with the other animals. And she's like, it's like every 3 a.m. everyone's like getting up and need to go outside all of a sudden. I don't understand what's going on. It's very problematic. And so I asked a couple questions, and we then told that being, you don't have a body anymore. And I always follow that up with, you are more than welcome to stay and keep interacting with everybody, but you cannot disrupt the routine. And you are more than welcome to move on and find another body. And usually that settles everything down. They just don't actually realize they don't have a body. I know, it's pretty cool. Or very weird. However you want to look at it. That's your point of view. But sometimes just acknowledging that, telling them they don't have a body, they're more than welcome to stay. They just cannot disrupt the routine of everybody that does have a body. That usually works. Actually, it usually works instantaneously and like a charm. And I know, it's so easy, so simple, so strange that it couldn't possibly be that, right? So just when you are noticing some differences, hi Claire, when you're noticing some differences with your animals, how they're interacting, what they're choosing to do, not choosing to do, especially if it's certain places, like, oh, they don't want to go through that doorway anymore. You know, what is this? Is this an entity? And if you get a like, oh, maybe, how about, oh, wow, okay, cool. Now what the hell do I do with this, right? You know, order. I would have Talk to the Entities by Gary Douglas on hand. Just have it. It is just that different perspective that could ease the bumps in the road with your animals in so many ways. I still open it, and you can't really tell on. It is so well loved. And actually, I found this really cool little note that I made back here about Jax in 2015, my Black Standard, that I was like, oh, I don't remember writing that down. So this is well loved, well written and well marked up and used, some part of it, for me, with my clients, with my animals every single day. It clears up some of that really weird stuff that maybe you don't want to talk to other people about because you don't want to be seen as that weird. But you can always come here and be that weird with me, because I am that weird. Any other stories? Does anybody else have anything they want to share? Any other questions? I'll give you just a second to pop that in. And if you are catching this at a later time, so grateful you are here. So grateful you are here live. You can pop your stories in. You can pop some questions in. And Facebook will let me know that some more comments were added here, and I can come back and look, or Keisha will come back and check it out here periodically. But we'll probably talk about entities more. They're just, I find them fun. Again, I'm weird. Oh, good, Mrs. Clock. I got the link up there. So you can grab your own Talk to the Animals book. It's probably, I don't know, an hour and a half read, but you can just pick and choose what you want to look at. But the full entity clearing statement is in here. You can use it. You don't have to know anything else about it. You can just use it. That is the magic of consciousness, and the magic of access consciousness. You don't have to actually know what it means. It'll work. And that's what I've always loved about consciousness, asking questions, following the energy. It does not lie. Does not lie. And you can have fun with it. Keisha's like, animals and entities are two of my favorite topics. I could probably go on and on and on. Fred the Basset's always a really good story. We might have to circle around Fred the Basset. Oh my gosh, my two little kittens, when I had an office. Oh my gosh, there was the story of them. They cleared out one ugly entity one day. It was amazing. I was so grateful. Yeah, and how much more can you acknowledge now that your animals are interacting with, are seeing, are being aware of that you are not? And how much more comfort could that actually bring you, instead of the heebie-jeebies, or that's weird, or that's scary, or that can't be? Because when you do not acknowledge it, it just tends to get stronger, that resistance and reaction, and that might actually cause some more distress within the pack. So lower your barriers, and play with some entities. Play with your animals like your animals play with the entities. All right, my dear friends, that's it. Just a little bit today. Just a little bit on entities. We'll circle back around. I'm sure we'll talk about them more as clients bring up more stories and more questions about them. I will be back here next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for another TLC. It's kind of, I don't have like the podcast, the positive podcast is on a hiatus, so we don't have that to chat about. For you folks here in the Denver area that I am so grateful and so lucky you get to bring your animals to me for chiropractic care and more. We're working on getting memberships together. Very exciting. No monthly call right now, Miss Sarah. We are busy playing in other realms. But if there are topics for the live chats here that you'd like me to touch on, send them my way. Send them my way. Would love some ideas of what you'd like to talk about. And you can always bring your questions. Always, 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 even if they are so way off topic. Okay, we just got a question. Hi, Kim. Yes, there's good stuff in the works. Yes, Keisha. Question: does chiropractic care work with disc issues? Yes. Actually, hell yes. And a lot of veterinarians would disagree with me. And I like how you put disc issues, because it can, yes. It's a very big question. It's a very big topic. Thank you, Kim. My level of comfort with it and level of what I can change with that is enormous. Most veterinary professionals, doctors of veterinary medicine, are so super duper scared of it, they won't touch it and just want to medicate it. Yes, even in a 14-year-old dog. Absolutely. Absolutely. In a 14-year-old dog, you're going to have more arthritic changes than anything else, and those disc space are going to compress. You don't have juicy, healthy discs at that point that are leaking into the cord and causing irritation. That is what you see in like a 4 or 5-year-old dog that stops walking and is extremely screaming painful. They're not always screaming painful, but they cannot, and they're not always not walking. Depends on what part of the cord is being irritated. But in a 14-year-old dog, you have arthritic changes, you have less disc space, which generally you have a lot more nerve compression. And they have big fancy words and all kinds of stuff, and there's all kinds of diagnostics to make sure you get the right name for everything. But in general, chiropractic can make them a lot more comfortable. At worst, nothing will change. I have yet to personally know or myself make anybody worse. But generally at worst, nothing will change, especially in a 14-year-old dog. Some of your younger ones, we work around the area just because they're so inflamed. And it can be a long conversation. And every body presents differently. Now, how comfortable are the pet parents with chiropractic? Usually people that go for chiropractic are like, yep, let's go and do this. If they're not that comfortable, start with some acupuncture. Start with a massage. And go from there. I hope that helps a little bit. Great question. Thank you, Kim. Good to see you here. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. And perfect timing, perfect example. Bring your questions. Even if they have nothing to do with the topic I choose. I would love to see them and answer them if I can. All right, my magical, magical friends, until next Tuesday. How much fun can you have with your animals? Bye-bye.